at over to station. Half a day, yeah. Well, I'll give you. There was about the steam engine on the Traverse.
photographs at home. I've just been saving them all onto my computer.
Janet Pat the Hooter.
Come on. Any more for the child?
Janet Pat the Hooter.
On you come, on you all squeeze, because I want to get off.
Ashley, you can perhaps squeeze on here.
I don't know. How does it wig it?
Where was it, Janet? Tell him.
Funny bugger, aren't you? Alright. Something's leaking. You like to do 95,
This is deceased then. This is deceased.
Just lying around the word.
Oh, you got to have a go. Oh, you beat him to it.
Take out because she's the one that's always been of the most interest to you. You should have told Chrissy that it wasn't Chrissy, it was Janet that you really wanted.
Going to Liverpool to do a run to York on Saturday. Yeah.
Mash you over there. Full of coal.
That's fireman.
Fire irons down that front. Very long.
Yeah.
Overgrown pokers.
Yeah, well,
Can you not make so much noise, please? Well, I'm complaint from the neighbours again.
Now we normally get a rapturous round of applause when we do that moving sideways, but I never ask for it when I bump. Now ladies and gentlemen, if you have a look over here on the left hand side here, you'll see all the original weights that used to hang over the side of the lift from 1908, form of a maze. Right, now you've all heard of Mr. Brunel and Mr. Telford, right?
Yeah.
But you've never heard of Edwin Clark. Well, we've got to go back to over to Vodafone, which we thought would take about 72 hours. 2.5 weeks it took. Now all you've got to do is to type in Anderton Lift Webcam, 2 separate words. Click on that with your mouse and you can see it's in operation from around about 8:30 in the morning to 5:30 at night. Right now, since we opened up, ladies and gentlemen, we're all under a thing that's called a computer. Now in the days before they didn't have the computer, it took one man from the hut above us to operate all of the The Victorians used steam and water hydraulics to operate the ramps, but unfortunately they had to take up at 9 feet per minute. Now, how do we operate the caissons? We can use them individually. We just use this one all day, going up and down, and we can leave the other one at the bottom. Or we generally have to use them as two. As one goes down, up comes the other one. The only thing we cannot do here at Anderton is raise the and jump off. Now, I'm now going to stop for a minute because we have one of the narrow boats in the other caisson. Now, since we opened up 3 years ago, the use of this lift, if you hire a narrow boat or you own a narrow boat, is now completely free. You don't have to pay. Up until 1983 there was a charge, and the charge was if you use the Anderton lift to go up or down, you had to pay £15. If you make a return journey, you also have to pay another £15. It's now completely free. If, not as an if you hold a British Waterways licence, if you hold a licence for the Bridgewater Canal, which is further down here, which is not owned by British Waterways, you still, unfortunately, still have to pay. Now here's this hydraulic ramp, slowly coming into view. Now if the sun was shining on this ramp, you might be able to see it today. From the top of the ram all the way down to the bottom, there's all inscriptions around it in the form of lines. So the computer knows exactly where I am in the lift to the nearest kilometre. Now the hydraulic ram has a coating around it. Why has it got a coating around it? Well, if you're not from this area, this is a salt area. Millions and millions of tons of salt around Northbridge still. So we have the coating done in Holland, and the rams are made in Germany. Now all you people on board, whether I have one person, 25, 56 or none, all the people on board, the boat, the water in the caisson, and we have our job to do. But from the moment it entered the caisson here at the bottom until it sailed into the Trent and Mersey Canal, which is at the top, when we get days and days and days of heavy rain, we do it in the 1930s. Each gateway is just over 1 3/4 tons. And you have to remember, you have now come down 50 feet and 4 inches. That's the exact height. Now if anybody...
It's a nice day for a swim, I don't mind.
you.
Right, Chris. Right. Anything intended to anything kicking off and the lake. Yeah.
what I mean about that other one? That's not horrible.
Tank is working and it's going backwards. I thought you said it could. They're really having fun, aren't they? I think that professional place is still
wonder when you say that.
Pardon?
Okay.
airport. Gives him a chance to get the measure of them and tell them a little of what to expect over the coming months. Becoming a combine driver, welding and workshop skills, and of course the all-important part of learning how to drive a truck and pass the Kansas truck driver's test.
In combine number 8, James is going to start out in one of the 8420s. William in combine number 4. Thomas, combine number 7.
And then they hit the road to join thousands of other trucks and combines in the rush to start bringing in the harvest. For the crews from Kansas, it's a 12-hour drive down to the Texas-Oklahoma border, travelling through some of the best wheatland in
It's full of bumps and holes. I just thought that'd been a lot easier to cut. But it's a challenge, it's getting used to the machine.
Well, the worst bit is you're cutting down through a thin crop, then you hit a thick crop and you can't sort of slow it down very quick where everyone's chasing each other. And then the old engine revs die down and buzzers start going off like the fruit machine.
Option. If you are calling a distress, please do not hang up. Please note, if you are ringing to report an act of cruelty, neglect or concern about the welfare of an animal,